There it is. There's the Bing. Welcome aboard, everybody. It is Thursday. It is heading back to the window with Scott and Scott, and I am Scott Steehn, lead handicapper at winnersandwiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over at winnersandwiners.com.
And together, we make up heading back to the window because that's what we want to do. Every time you make that bet, we want to head back to the window, even if it's virtually, Scott, even if you're just heading back to the virtual window on your phone. What's up, Michelle Ware? She is consistently number one, Scott. I'm impressed with her organization and scheduling.
It's better organization and scheduling than what I have.
I think she's probably more on time than I am most days here. Yep. So congratulations, Scott. Look at this. We've got the new green banner up. Are you psyched?
Yes, we don't exactly know how that happened, but that is the color of money. So I feel like it's pretty fitting for the show.
Cha-ching! T-Train in the hizzy. Welcome to the Bada Bing, everybody. Great show, The Sopranos. Have you seen the new Sopranos movie? I guess really not even new anymore. Been out about a month or so.
I actually did not see that, but I'm looking forward to the Gabagool.
And the Gabagool. How about those Anaheim Ducks, baby? Says Zach Vaughn on Facebook, checking in. Are the Ducks, dude? Quack, quack, man.
Quack, quack.
Hot and cold are the Ducks. That's pretty much the situation there is all I got to say about that. Hey, while we're talking, everybody, before we get rolling here, quick reminder to give us the thumbs up while you're watching us. Let our bosses over at Winners and Winers know how much you're digging the show. So we appreciate it if you give us a thumbs up, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching a couple hours later. And I've had every once in a while I have a comment that people can't see the feed once the live show ends. That I've gone in as a viewer. I've had no problems. So if you guys have any problems, let me know. I need to know how widespread it is, or if it's something. I don't know. I need to know if there's a problem, I need to know where it is and see if we can get it fixed with the tech people.
Truth is, if you can't find it, the amount of times it gets tweeted out, either just on Twitter, Facebook, or any other platform, you can find it on other platforms. So even if it doesn't officially pop up in your subscription feed for some obscure reason, you can still find it if you follow us on Twitter.
Absolutely. Joan's in the house. What's up, Joan? Michelle, and I'll tell you what, Scott, before we go, let's do this because she's always really good about getting here first. So thoughts on the Las Vegas Knights tonight. As far as the Patriots over under, I did a video on that. My play of the day, spoiler alert, I've got the over. So I think it's going, if you want to take the trends and you want to play it like it has been hitting pretty much all season long, I believe the overs are 2-8 on the season on Thursday night. Under is certainly is the play. But and Scott and I differ on this, by the way, I believe.
I like the under in the game, but that's just me.
There you go. So whoever you like better for NFL, that's the person you should back here. As far as the Knights, Scott, I'll let you go first on LVK.
Well, it's kind of tricky to find a lot of value on it because the line itself has Vegas at around -160, give or take, which does seem a bit right to me. Detroit, not a good team, been pretty bad on the road, but Vegas, we know, is usually very good at home. Only 5-4 at home this season, so they haven't been as dominant as they have been in the past. But you're looking at the recent performances. Vegas has won 3 of the last 4, and they've played at home every game since the 9th. So they've once again been at home, no travel at all. While Detroit has been in the middle, a little bit of a road trip here. Lost to Columbus by 2, lost to Dallas by 3. Now they're playing against Vegas. I like Vegas here. Detroit's 3-6 on the highway, and I do think Vegas is the more talented team. Give me the Golden Knights, whether you want to take them money line in regulation, -1.5, maybe 1.5. I think might be a little bit closer than that. But when you're losing your last 2 road games by at least 2 goals apiece to the likes of Columbus and Dallas, and now you face off against a talented Vegas team, I gotta like the Golden Knights there.
Yeah, I'm just not sure about the price. I just don't love laying the 160.
That's why I was trying to find alternative options.
Yeah, I think puck line, Vegas.
I said regulation if you want to go that route.
Absolutely. Browns backers in the house as he is most afternoons. Good to have you, bud. Reichel, just tell me you like the Ducks tonight. I want to hear you say it. Say you like the Ducks. Quack, quack, buddy.
Well, Anaheim's playing Carolina. Carolina's a very, very good hockey team. But -155, Just for you, I'll say I like the Ducks. Let's put it that way.
Say the line. Say the line.
Sure. Just for Zach, because he's a regular listener on Facebook. I like the Ducks. Actually, I'm going to pass, but I like the Ducks.
Nathan Stern says, good afternoon, tuning in live from his office work party. Save a piece of cake for me, baby. All right, Scott. We talked about this. We could have done a whole show on these. It was a bad night for him. We've narrowed it down. We funneled it down. We've picked the three that we think were probably the worst.
By the way, before we get into that, is it weird anytime I hear office work party, I think of the Office Space scene with the cake? With like Milton passing down the pieces of cake the entire time. That's like the only thing I picture when I think of an office work party.
That's pretty accurate. Here we go. And if we don't get to it, JC Stone has another one. Yep, that was one of the. Oh yes, that was one.
That was left off because there were really a lot to go through.
Yeah, that would have made the show 90% of the time, no question about it. Here we go. That really wasn't much of an intro. It was not up to my usual.
Well, I interrupted you because I got the Office Space cake scene popped into my head.
Hey, if you went up to Binghamton to play the game with the municipal employees, Scott, maybe you're up there and you bet on a -2 against Columbia, you were in great shape because they led by 16 with 6:05 left in the second half. Of course, they pissed that away. Game went into overtime. Binghamton, we usually say it's not a fan of the underdogs. It was in this case. Columbia plus the 2. Yeah, they ended up winning by 8. We had Binghamton -2. Thanks for pissing away a 16-point lead with 6 minutes left. We appreciate you. Call the cops.
Well, if you get outscored by 16 points in the last 6 minutes, the last thing you want is an additional 5 minutes. Yep. It's usually not going to help you out.
T-Train, you're absolutely right, by the way. Thank you very much for commiserating. We may talk about that game here now.
Yeah, right now. If you had the Central Michigan Ball State over 57, you had 45 points in the first half. So you were in pretty good shape. And then, well, you got some bad weather. And you had 9 points in the second half. Game landed 54. All you needed was 2 touchdowns. Instead, can I interest you in 9 points?
Jesus Christ. And we talked about this before the show. At the end of the game, you knew you were screwed. It's 4th and forever. Lombardi puts a pass right on the money.
It wasn't Lombardi. It was Lombardi's on Northern Illinois.
Oh, sorry, not Lombardi for ball. The ball's down. Clit.
Yeah.
No, not Clit. That's not right.
Plit.
Jesus. Thank you very much. Yes,
no problem.
Clit. That, believe it or not, that was not planned. Put it right on the money. Right in one step into the end zone. Boom. And of course, the kid drops it. So that's pretty much the way that went. The Underman, hello. What's up, baby? Clippers have been good to us. Yep, riding them today, Chiz Jones.
I don't know what to think of that Memphis team because I like them, but it seems like they either aren't mentally focused for half their games or they just play with their food.
Yep, absolutely. Nathan Stern says New Mexico State beat Davidson. Yeah, I forgot that was on. I like New Mexico State there. And of course, now I get Utah State. I get them 8.5 when it's a 6, and now they've tied it at the halftime. So another one of my great live plays.
You still got the second half.
I know. You have LaSalle, Delaware under 143. This is a heartbreaker, man, because Delaware trailed 70-69, 2 seconds left. Foul on a 3-pointer. Okay, guys. All we need is to make 2 or to make 3. I would say that'd be the or none. None is good also, whatever. So, Scott, all you can have them do is just don't miss 2 of the 3 fucking free throws. What'd they do?
They missed 2 of the 3 free throws.
It's exactly what they did. They go to overtime at 70-70. Yeah, you're screwed. Yeah. And the game landed just to stick a knife in your heart. The game landed 167. So that under 143 was a distant memory if you had LaSalle, Delaware. Sorry, Cali Caps.
The one outcome you can't have, because even if they make 2, then you're fine if you just get a stop with about 2 seconds left, which is basically a half-court heave, because you can't advance the ball in college. The one thing you can't have is a tie game. 1 of 3 free throws. Come on, guys.
That's T-Train says he got no play today. He didn't like the card. I don't blame him. By the way.
Brown's backer had the type of day that I kind of wish that I had, just because not just going 11-13. I know he ended up making some units, but the fact that he played 24 games, it was one of those days where I felt like I had a good read on basically everything, but I straight up did not play enough games because everything I leaned to won. I had a good game anyway. I had a good day anyway. I won my play of the day. I won the farm play, which we'll talk about, but still, I feel like I could have won a lot more had I just, I don't know, fully invested in everything I liked yesterday. It was one of those.
Yep, I agree. I was the same way. I hit both premiums with the farm, obviously. The only thing I missed was the over in the in the game we just talked about. That was ridiculous. So yeah, good day. And again, didn't play enough. All my leans pretty much were right where I wanted.
Nathan, don't fall for the trap. It's the blue hose in basketball. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. It's a trick. They play unders in basketball. Don't fall for it.
All right. So the opposite, Scott. There was some good news out there. Let's find out who was one of those people that were lucky enough to be sitting in the rocking chair today.
So, looking at the rocking chair, if you had Army plus 2.5 against Merrimack, all dressed in black, you had a nice winner because they led by 19 at the half, won by 23.
Is that a thing? Is that a line from something? Merrimack.
It's like the hand game, like Miss Mary Mac, all dressed in black, something, something, something. You know what I'm talking about?
The hand game.
Yeah, like the kids when they used to like tap hands with like some. That's a thing.
No, I was playing soccer or football when
I didn't do that, but I've seen it
around doing that.
I get it if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Do you know how to? You're talking about with the paper things where you make the?
No, I'm talking about like an actual like hand clap thing with somebody else. That's a thing.
Oh, okay.
It's like high-low piccolo. It's like one of those.
No, what?
Don't worry about it, man. Just don't worry about it, man. It's like patty cake. Thank you, Zach. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, patty cake. I get that. Thank you.
It's like a same thing. It's a deviation of patty cake.
You're a fucking deviation. You had Wizards Hornets under 220.5. 3 quarters, less than 45 points. 3 quarters, all had less than 45 points. Scott, you're in good shape. And you were. The game landed 184. That's solid right there. When three quarters are going to come up less than 135, you got to figure your 220 is probably pretty good, and it was.
And looking at the last one, if you had Lipscomb plus a 9.5 or the money line against Dayton, I mean, who didn't? I mean, come on, the Flyers. Come on, they're playing on the ground. Lipscomb led by 10 points at the half, won by 19 outright. So if you ended up having Lipscomb plus the 9.5, you had a nice easy winner.
Yeah, you did. You had a nice easy winner. Indeedy do. All right. So there was some drinking last night with the Oddsmaker, Scott. There
was one game that was so disgusting that I hope both teams burn the footage.
You'd think this team just plays horrible, horrible football, but you'd be wrong because they also play horrible, horrible basketball. Scott, I may need to be drunk after this, but let's find out why the Oddsmakers were drunk last night. I'll let you have the honors.
So there was a game between VCU and Vanderbilt yesterday, and the total in that game was 133. Now, both of us, I know, like the under because VCU scored 44 points against Wagner earlier in the year, so we like the under, but that's the wrong banner. But looking at the actual matchup itself, total is 133. Each half had less than 46 points. The game landed 85. And no, Virginia did not get subbed in at the half. This was a non-Virginia total of 85.
Apparently, if your school's name begins with a V, you cannot score.
Yes.
Is that a fair rule?
You can make the argument because we have 3 cases for the last couple of days on teams that start with the letter V that cannot score. And this game had 85 points. When you miss a total by about 48, you're going to end up on the Oddsmakers or Drunk segment.
Yep, you absolutely are. Absolutely are. All right. Before we start capping, let's do this because this one I thought was going to break my heart, but it didn't.
My friend texted me with action on the same thing, saying, I can't believe I'm about to lose by a hook. I'm like, you got a shot here. Don't worry about it. But we'll talk about it.
You're good. Let's find out who was the gambling hero of the day. So if you had Northern Illinois last night, some semblance of give or take a point, point and a half, maybe two. You're in great shape. They had a 14-point lead there in the second half. They ended up blowing that. Buffalo came back. Illinois drove it down the field, took the lead, couldn't punch it in, get the touchdown. They took a 3-point lead.
But what was the total?
Against the wind, by the way. What was the total?
Total was 51.5.
That's
and
right.
They were sitting at 51 with about 2 minutes to go.
That's right. The total was 51.5. Illinois kicked the field goal to make it 51. All they have to do is stop Buffalo. That's it. Ball game's over. Buffalo converts. It's with about 4 minutes left. They go for a 4th and 8 from their own 30. I was surprised they did it. They had 3 timeouts. I thought they would actually kick the ball with the wind and try to hold it Northern Illinois. They didn't. They made the right play. They went for it. They had the sack. Quarterback wiggled out of the grasp and was able to complete the ball first down, keep the drive going. But Scott, after that was about the last pass they throw on that drive. They were content.
I think that was the game.
To move the ball down the field about 25, 30 more yards. And they set up to kick a game-tying 55-yard field goal. Now, if you watched that game last night, it was a wind game, Scott. One side had the wind blowing in its favor. One side had it blowing against it. So it was a huge difference. There was an early field goal of 42 yards that actually fell short. The kid, nailed it, and it was just blown down by the wind. So this is going the other way. He's got the wind behind him, 55 yards. It's in his distance. He's a good kicker. But still, it was a kind of a swirling wind. It wasn't blowing exactly front to back or back to front, as the case would be there. But anyway, you know how this story ends. He makes it. Northern Illinois has a chance to come down. They drive the ball down. They have a shot to win it with 1 second left. They try to kick a 38-yarder, something in that neighborhood. Kid gets it up in the wind. It blows out of there. It's no good. So they go to overtime. And
well, this is for Gambling Hero. So the hero was
I'm just telling the story. So the kid kicks a 55-yarder with the wind.
Sent the game over.
Ties the game. It goes over.
55-yarder to send the game over. That's the Gambling Hero.
I know. I'm trying not. Yeah, you're right. I'm getting involved in.
It was a hell of a game. I'm just saying, for the Gambling Hero aspect of it, all that mattered was the damn field goal at the end to send it over. Because even though Northern Illinois drove it, missed the field goal, went to overtime, they would have just taken knees had he missed the kick. So he made it. Game went over. See you later.
Oh yeah. The game was absolutely the game. So everybody out there's like, yeah, wake me when he gets to the point of Gambling Hero. So yeah, sorry, I got lost in the weeds there, kids. Because it was a hell of a finish, and it usually is the kind of game that goes the other direction.
We also disagreed a little bit about the play calling for Buffalo. How do you settle for a 55-yard field goal? I get you have a backup quarterback who you don't trust.
Right.
You're really just going to play for the 55-yarder when you pass the 40?
Yep.
Can you try? Arkansas was the honorable mention, by the way, Lawrence, for the 4th call the cops, that game against Northern Iowa, because they were down 1 with 3 to go. Spread was 12.5, and they ended up covering and winning by 13. So that was the honorable mention. Call the cops. That was the 4th one. But in general,
that Stanford game too. That was the other.
That Stanford one's a bad one too. You could have had the Bulls against the Trailblazers. Got outscored by 20 something in the 4th, but in the second half, I mean. But yeah, for the actual Gambling Hero, it's the Buffalo kicker.
Agreed. It's somebody asked what's in my cup. It's always tea. I'm not. If I started drinking at whatever 2:19 my time here, it'd be a long fucking day.
There might be other things inside the tea, but the base drink is the tea.
There's not. I used to work when I worked like 2 to 10, and we'd go dinner break would be about 6. Sometimes we'd have a pitcher of beer, and my God, the last 4 hours would just drag. Even though you're not drunk, but you got a nice little buzz. You got that nice little buzz where you just kind of want to keep it going, but you got to go back to work. And I hated it.
Well, it would have been easier had you not had the entire pitcher.
That's very true. Got payday and can finally indulge in college basketball again, sir. All right. Well, glad to hear it. I hope we can hit some winners here. What's everybody else looking at, Scott? Let's start off here. Anything in the world of hockey? It's a big slate tonight. Anything catch your eye as far as hockey goes?
I'm looking at the Rangers getting plus money against Toronto. I know that the Rangers on the road have not been great this season, that Toronto has been playing better lately. I don't think Toronto should be minus 170. I think that these teams are closer than the odds actually indicate. Now, Toronto could easily win the game, and you might end up losing anyway. But I do think that minus 170 does sound a bit rich. The Rangers have been playing good hockey. What do you think? That seems like that line should be closer to around 140 to me.
Yeah, I think they're two teams that they're pretty evenly matched, especially if you look at the peripherals and you look at their records. I think that's a little too steep. I think there is value on the Rangers at about plus 155, 160, depending on what you're getting it at. I'm looking at Tampa Bay laying a short price to Philly on the road. I think this Philly team, I haven't been impressed so far. Tampa Bay seems to be finding their mojo a little bit. I think you're getting a good price, minus 125. What do you think there?
Yeah, Tampa Bay, after a relatively slow start, has been really good for the last couple of weeks, if not a month already. Philly's been a pretty solid team, but we know Tampa's the more talented team. That does seem a little bit short on the price. I don't mind the under in that game.
Okay, I like that as well. Yeah,
we got to talk about the obvious play, by the way. Columbus in regulation against Arizona. I know Columbus isn't good, but Arizona stinks. So
Roland's taking Arizona Coyotes minus or under 2.5 team goals. Yep, I don't hate that.
They can't score. Columbus is a team that might not be good, but they're definitely more talented than Arizona. If you've just faded Arizona every single game, you've made a pretty fair share of money.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no question. And just disregarded the price. Scott, you always hear people joke about it, saying losers pay juice. Is that something that you should consider?
I think it matters when it comes to shopping your lines, because that's why I always preach it on my show, and how even if it gets a little bit redundant, and how I constantly mention it's available at this, here, and here,
right?
I saved half a point, or I saved an extra 15 cents. They add up.
Yeah,
so
I would say
losers
pay retail.
Now, you can make an argument that maybe for some props or for some games that you think minus 275, minus 300, and it should be minus 800, you can find some serious value even with decent juice. But when you're talking about simply just taking a little bit of effort and finding a bet that you like at minus 200 and finding it at minus 150, then you just make more money long term.
Yeah, well, and it's all about the probability, because as we've talked about before, if you're at minus 110, you have to hit 52.38% of your bets to be profitable, right?
Yeah.
So it goes up exponentially the more you pay. So you've got to have a higher percentage. So in other words,
if you bet minus 180, you have to win a lot more than 52% in order to be profitable.
If you're hitting, and this is just the simple math on this. If you're betting minus 150, you've got to hit it 3 out of 5 times. You got to hit it. You got to hit 60% of those bets. So you have to factor that in as far as the juice goes. If you think something has a 55% chance of winning, and you're laying minus 140, that's going to be a losing proposition. So it's definitely something that you have to take a look at and factor in as far as the price.
But you could find value on some games anyway, whether you like, for example, the Patriots tonight at minus 275 on the money line, and you think that if they would play 10 times, New England would probably win 9 of these times. If that's just your opinion on the math, then you think the line should be a lot higher than minus 275.
Now, I know you would play a single game parlay there, or a single game teaser. You would tease the Patriots down to a half and the total to 53, right?
Yeah, I would. I would play the under with the Patriots. But another example is the Warriors. Of course, I ended up taking them as my play of the day with the minus the points. But if you look at the money line, they're around like minus 400. That means that if you had to do the math on that, if these teams, as of right now, with all the injuries that Cleveland has, if they would play 10 times, would Cleveland win a game with this roster?
Well, that's what they're saying, that they think the odds of that happening are very slim.
The point is they're slim, but you can make an argument that the minus 400 favored Warriors should really be minus 600-700, because Cleveland's playing a back-to-back with really no talent on the active roster.
Well, at minus 400, obviously you're implying that they win 4 out of 5 times.
Yeah.
And you're saying they might win 1 out of 10?
I'm saying they would win 4 out of 4 times. I think
Well,
they'll
no,
win 5 out of 5.
I mean the
That's
other
what I'm
side.
saying. Yeah, correct.
Okay.
I'm saying if they would play 10 times with these active rosters, I'm not sure if Cleveland would win a game.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. You're getting a good price there. So
So you
sometimes
can find value with huge money line favorites, but the point is, if you have the choice of saving an extra couple of cents just by comparing books on the same bet, then you're going to be making more money long term.
well, we did the same thing with the Rosarena where we laid minus 275.
I said straight up, it was free money.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was because he was about a 97, 98% chance to win.
The second favorite was Wander Franco, who came in third.
Yeah,
So
value there. Let's talk about this college game. Louisville looked really good last week against Syracuse. That kind of jumped up and surprised me. I thought Syracuse would have something for them. They had nothing for them. They're laying 20 now to 20 and a half to Duke tonight, Scott, up there in Durham. How do you feel about that?
well, you know that I've been a huge fan of Cutcliffe the whole year, right? Ever since
Yeah.
I took Charlotte money line in the first game of the season.
Absolutely.
I really think that Duke's a terrible football team. They have been a lot better at home than on the road, and they probably should have covered against Pittsburgh. It ended up not working out because Pittsburgh scored a couple of touchdowns late, scored 50-something points. But Duke's offense actually looked decent down the stretch at home. On the road, this Duke team's useless, but at home, occasionally they look okay. The question is, do you think Louisville has a letdown spot? Because we know if Louisville shows up with even 85% focus, they should roll because Duke is one of the worst teams in the ACC. Now, do I want to lay 20-something points with this Louisville team on the road? Not really, but I hate this Duke team. I think I'd probably go over or pass. I'm looking at a total here.
This Duke team,
They're bad.
They're like KU bad. They have lost 11 straight in the ACC.
Yeah.
They've been outscored by 28 and a half points in those 11 games, and 9 of the 11 games have been decided by 21 points or more.
It ain't good.
They've been outgained in that stretch, 511 to 199.
I kind of have to have a little bit of a hesitation when it comes to factoring in what the spread should be because Duke might be missing Holmberg with the rib injury.
Right.
I don't know if he's going to play or not.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, if you compared him to the backup, he's significantly better than the backup. Duh. So I think if he's not going to play, yeah, then I'm going to feel worse about my total over if Holmberg's not going to play. So I don't mind a Louisville team total over. This Duke team defensively is just a waste of space.
Okay. Yeah, I have nothing good to say about this Duke team. There's no way there might be cappers out there good enough to go, you know what? I like this about Duke, and I think they match up. I'm going to take Duke. I don't see it.
I think the only angle you have for Duke, if Holmberg was going to play, was going to be taking a home dog midweek, getting 20 points.
I don't give a shit if this game is at home, if it's away, if it's on the moon, if it's on an aircraft carrier.
I'm trying to come up with a hypothetical argument for Duke. The argument would be just taking the 20 points at home, but Duke is just a terrible football team.
Yep. It's just it's too many points. Like, well,
yeah.
Okay. All right. Any thought on the total?
I really can't have much of a thought if I don't know who's going to be the quarterback for Duke, but I like the over if Holmberg plays. If not, I'll play it safe and take the Louisville team total over.
About 40?
Yeah, give or take.
Okay.
They should score at least 6 touchdowns in this game.
Okay. I'm with you. And if they score that, I think they cover.
Yeah.
All right. NBA?
Well, as you know, I like the Warriors. But besides that, going down the line, a lot of low totals. A lot of totals in the 200s. I'm looking at the under in the Denver and Philly game. Philly, we all know, is missing basically everybody. I know Tobias Harris came back about a week or two ago. Embiid is still out. What else is new? Simmons is still doing his thing, whatever that means. But you saw them get killed by 35 against Utah. Only scored 85 points in that game. But Denver defensively, especially at home, has been really, really underrated. And if you want to look at Denver's last couple of home games, it's very rare for their opponents to even score 100 points. To look at those games here, I'll go in order of the last couple of home games for Denver and the points that they've allowed. Played Portland, allowed 95 points. Played Atlanta, allowed 96 points. Played Indiana, allowed 98. Played Miami, allowed 96. Played Houston, allowed 94. Played Dallas, allowed 75. Played the Cavaliers, allowed 99. Played the Spurs, allowed 96. So they have not allowed 100 points in a home game this season. I have to like the under, or at least a team total under for Philly. Because if you're not allowing triple digits in any of your home games, why would I assume that an injury-riddled Philly team is going to break through and score 100?
Yep, agreed. Louisville's Roland says Louisville's covered the first half, last 4 games. Very good. Nathan's got Duke team total under. Somewhere around 20 and a half, something like that. Ugly NBA card today. And I'm not a fan. A couple of our automatic plays out there.
I'm looking at the blind unders. That was the case when we had the short NBA card a couple of days ago. I was just playing totals, but I'm looking at that team total under for Philly. Denver's defense at home has been fantastic.
Yeah, they're playing horrific offense right now as far as Philly goes.
Yeah, it's not their fault. I mean, they're missing all their best players, or for the most part.
Yep, and that is quite a home stretch there. Of course, it wasn't the best of competition, but you can argue Philadelphia in their current iteration is not the best of competition either. So, yeah, I'm with you there. Something involving Denver in the under, Philly team total under, something in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, I believe that is correct. I believe the Clippers will win comfortably. I'm not quite convinced of Memphis yet. I know they're a team coming, and I know they played pretty well early. I really like the way this Clippers team has been playing. They've been pretty good on the road. I like them. Give me pick them with the Clippers. I think they roll.
I think roll's a strong word for the Clippers because full domination. I've mentioned before with the Clippers, and that actually applied against Miami in a couple of games ago. The Clippers are really not a good first half team at all. They get off to relatively slow starts and then really pick it up in the second half, which is kind of what they ended up doing in the playoffs last year. We know that come from behind win against the Jazz where they were down 20-something at the half and ended up winning the game. But it seems like the Clippers are really good at in-game adjustments, but they kind of go through the motions for the first half.
Who's the coach of the Clippers?
Ty Lue.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You like Ty Lue a lot, right?
I think he's actually pretty good.
You roasted Ty Lue. Come on.
I roasted him because I thought a little bit low of him, but he ended up winning me over in the playoffs last year. I thought he actually did a pretty good job.
I'll tell you, the problem with this Clippers team is you got a lot of guys that are out. Winslow's out.
Winslow's a non-factor, but yeah.
Batum is doubtful. Well, you're right. Morris is out. Batum is doubtful.
I'm trying to think if Batum and Morris matter that much, though, because that just gives more minutes to Terrence Mann, who I think should be getting more minutes anyway.
Well, I think Mann's a good player. Terrence Mann's questionable tonight with an ankle injury.
Okay, so. Well, either way, I like Memphis first half in that game. I'm going to stay away from the full game, but the Clippers have really gone off to slow starts. I think Memphis at home against this level of competition will show up for at least 24 minutes, might fade down the stretch, but I think Memphis leads at the half.
Okay. All right. You talked about Golden State.
I mean, how do you not like Golden State in that game?
No.
I mean, you kind of have to. They're number one in offense and defensive efficiency. You know how impossible that is to do?
That seems like a team that should win a lot of games.
Yeah, I'll bet the Warriors. You can really lay whatever you want. If the spread was 12.5, I probably still would have taken the Warriors. 9.5 with Curry probable. Thank you very much.
Yep, fair enough.
Maybe the under in the Wizards Heat game. Maybe. I know that Miami is a team that defensively was a lot better to start the year. The Wizards had that offensive, relative no-show against Charlotte. But I do think fatigue will play a bit of a factor because you're looking at both of these teams. They played yesterday, so they got a back-to-back there. Miami came from behind, and Washington was in a relatively close game. So they played the starters a decent amount. I'm expecting an ugly game there. Of course, for a total of 206, it kind of needs to be an ugly game. But I do think that the total is a little bit high. I like the under in that Wizards game. I do not think that both teams reach 100.
College basketball, Scott. A lot of these smaller tournaments getting underway. Got some basketball during the day. I'll give one to kick off. I like the underdog in the UW Milwaukee game against Florida. Florida laying about 16 and a half. This Milwaukee team, Scott, they're better than you think. They've got a kid that's going to go certainly first round, maybe top 10, and Pat Baldwin. They've got
top 10's a stretch, but he should be a first rounder.
He's going to be very close. He's a good basketball player, a lot better basketball player than you think you're going to find on the Milwaukee roster. How about that? Of course, you've got Golson there. They've got to figure out what to do, obviously, with Castleton. He's been a monster for Florida, but I just think this Florida team has some backcourt questions. They've got a UMKC transfer kid in there that's kind of working through it. They got the other guards from Charleston Southern. And so I like Milwaukee catching some serious points here, 16 and a half.
I'm going to stay away from that.
That one starts pretty soon, by the way.
Florida minus 14.5 kind of caught my eye last night because I thought there would be money on Florida. It came in. I'm just not interested anymore. One game I'm going to ask you about, though, of course, people wonder about letdown spots in college sports. You got Marquette taking on Ole Miss. Marquette, of course, pulled off the upset against Illinois. You had the tremendous steal. Forced, I believe, 26 turnovers in that game. I really like this Ole Miss team. I think this Ole Miss team is very underrated. They're laying 3.5. I'm expecting a letdown spot for Marquette, especially traveling on the highway for this matchup after that very, very competitive, crazy atmosphere in Milwaukee. The game.
This is neutral. Where is it?
Looking at this matchup, let me see where this is located. But anyway, just in general, are you expecting a letdown spot from the Rebels here?
I mean,
from the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, I think you absolutely have to look at this being a letdown spot. They really stepped up there, like you said, and played well against Illinois with the last minute victory there. But this is an Ole Miss team that the jury's still out. They haven't. This is going to be their first quote unquote real game. They've rolled.
It's in Charleston, South Carolina, by the way.
Okay, all right. Oh, that's the same one that the. Okay,
yeah. It's a tournament of some kind or some classic or whatever.
Yeah, it's the well, they were playing on the Chanticleers court earlier, but that wouldn't be Charleston anyway. Okay.
Either way, the question is, do you think Marquette is a letdown? I do.
Yes, I think this Ole Miss team is very good. I agree. They can move the ball offensively. I think they're going to be maybe even more efficient than Illinois was the other night. I think with the points, I'm solid with that. I think we're catching good value. I think this, without that win the other night, if Marquette would have just kept that close, lost by 5-7, I think this number is probably closer to 6.
I agree. I think it'd be closer to around 5 or 6. But one question that I actually want to ask you is a little bit of a trap line potentially, but I'm going to talk about it. Ohio State minus 2.5 against Xavier. Now, both the teams are undefeated. Ohio State looked absolutely hideous for the first game and a half, ended up winning against Akron, won against Niagara, and then killed Bowling Green in the third game. But 2.5 for a ranked team definitely has a trap line written all over it. Do you think Xavier wins outright? Because I'm still leaning Ohio State, but that line does seem a little bit telling, does it not?
Does seem like that's a gaping tailpipe just waiting for a banana, doesn't it?
Yes. Does feel that way.
I wouldn't. That just seems like such an obvious play that I'm staying away from it. I might take a step.
I'm not saying I'm going to play it. I just thought it was worth talking about because I'm sure a lot of people are looking at Ohio State going ranked team minus 2.5 all day, every day. But I am kind of curious if you think there's a chance or at least maybe a shot of Xavier just taking it to him, because Ohio State has definitely looked vulnerable up to this point.
Ben Campbell's Oregon vibes. Very possible. Yes.
Never again.
You're dead to me, you ducks.
Dead to me, man.
STM Network says I'm late. They already give their opinion on the Argentina Liga Nacional basketball game. Scott, did you check in on that?
I have not. Whatever team Luis Scola plays for, if he's still playing basketball. Is Ginobili playing? I'm curious if any of these guys went back to Argentina to just play recreationally.
Oscar Schmidt.
Oh, that was Brazil. But
Brazil. He was the 3-point shooter extraordinaire.
Yeah, Nets drafted him. He never played for us.
Fair enough. All right, let's get a rocking and rolling here, buddy. We've got just time for one more thing, and that is going to be, what is it, Scott?
It's time for the farm.
It is. It's time to put on your straw hats, get on your John Deere tractor, fire that bad boy up, and give me a little yeehaw as we get ready to bet that farm. Scott, we found the new Citadel, and how'd they do for us yesterday?
We ended up taking the over, and whether there were 5 extra minutes involved or not, I don't remember. The game went over.
There you go. That's a farm winner, folks. Yeehaw! All right, there it is. That was a Bet the Farm winner. We had Long Beach State over, and because Scott read that one, he's going to read this one. Scotty, what do we got cooked up for today's farm?
So it's only fitting, as Thomas tells us with an exclamation point, fade the public. We're looking at the Patriots. -6.5, because we are Square City over here. We know that the primetime games have been pretty favorable to the underdog, and we really wanted to make a case for Atlanta. We really couldn't do it. We just despise this Atlanta team. They're an awful football team.
I say you despise them more than I do. They are.
Well, going into the year, I said they would come in last place in their division, and that definitely looks like it's going to be the case. But Atlanta, to go through their season, they've lost 2 of the last 3. They lost to the Cowboys last week by 40 in that game. Patriots, meanwhile, since we said they were going to make the playoffs, we did the opposite of the radio show jinx. They haven't lost since. They've won each of their last 4 games. 3 of those wins have come by at least 18 points. On top of that, the Falcons' best offensive player this season has been Cordarrelle Patterson, who is doubtful with an ankle sprain. So the running backs right now are going to be Mike Davis, who's been a complete non-factor, and Wayne Gallman. That's all they got. Not to mention the fact New England's defense has been crazy lately with the interceptions force, the sacks, the turnovers. They're really just a great unit. And Damian Harris missed the last game with a concussion. He is back. So I do think that the Patriots should roll here. I know it's very difficult to take a favorite in primetime football because the underdogs have done very well. And I understand that this Falcons team without Cordarrelle Patterson should really struggle to score at least 17 points, in my opinion. Mac Jones looked really good last week. They killed Cleveland. Give me the Patriots with a healthy running back unit. I think they'll win this game handily.
All right, there you go. I'm definitely on the same side. I think the Patriots have a little more offense than I think the Falcons may have a little more offense than you do. Although I did like the over a lot more with Patterson playing. Without him playing, that certainly changes my opinion about the total score. It doesn't change my opinion about the Patriots dominating this game.
I'm just not sure what Matt Ryan's supposed to do because they don't have many weapons besides Pitts, and you know that Belichick's going to game plan solely for Pitts. If Patterson does not play, they scored 3 points last week against Dallas's defense. I have some serious question marks about Atlanta's offense.
Yep, not good at all. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. That's going to do it for Bet the Farm. Hope you guys had some fun. Maybe we learned something from each other. You guys always have a lot of great information. I have one of the best handicapping communities anywhere on the internet, and I appreciate you guys showing up each and every day here and in the comment section, dropping your knowledge and your plays. Thanks very much. Wish you guys nothing but the best. Good luck tonight, today, on all of your plays. Appreciate everybody joining us. Come back and see us tomorrow as we do it all again as Scott and I head back to the window. Take care, everybody.